Hello there, welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a VR to the hashtag Tarot in Wonderland by the very lovely Courtney from Aries Witchcraft on YouTube. And I've got this here because I've got her prompts, and also I really loved her thumbnail. So just to inspire you all, because mine isn't going to be as gorgeous as hers was. So this is for me to check my prompts. So there are 12 prompts to this. And it is obviously based on Wonderland or Alice in Wonderland, and the prompts are kind of as goes, so we'll see if I can get these correct. Prompt number 1: what deck sent you down the tarot rabbit hole? Say that one fast. It's the Dark Mansion Tarot for me. I learnt to read with Deviant Moon Tarot. I had that one for a while, and then I was introduced to different kind of combinations of decks. The Rider-Waite, and this was one that was really popular, and I fell in love with the imagery of this one. And these were, as many people know from Tarotech Studios, they're not very easy to, they're not an instant order, so you have to, when you order them, you have to wait for them to run a print run. They kind of like collected the order, so I think I had like a maybe 4 month wait for this one to come through. And in that time of waiting for this one, I discovered more tarot decks. So this deck led me to then start running down the rabbit hole of looking into other types of imagery and other decks, and I just kind of started collecting from there. So Deviant Moon and this one kind of started off my collections, but the decks that arrived came in different orders. So I know another one was the Lightseers by Chris Ann Donnelly, and yeah, so this is the deck that sort of sent me down the rabbit hole of looking and discovering other decks, so to speak. So it's the Dark Mansion did that for me. What deck makes you smile like the Cheshire Cat? Okay, I've only recently realised this deck is the one that makes me smile the most when I hold it. Even now I'm smiling. I haven't opened it. It is the Trionfi della Luna. This one is the Marseille version, okay. The Rose Paradoxical. It's the colourway on this. I love the colourway. It just has a really nice feel, like in the whole thing. The colours, the cards, the whimsical artwork is completely up my street. Well, it ought to be, because I learned to read with his first deck, the Deviant Moon. So it's sort of not really too much of a far-fetched surprise to discover that this would be the deck that makes me smile the most, I guess. And I have many iterations of this deck, but it's actually the rose that makes me smile when I pick it up. It just, I don't know. There's something warming to me about this deck. So that is my deck number 2, the one that makes me grin like a Cheshire Cat when I'm holding it, working with it. As I said, Trionfi della Luna Rose Paradoxical. Currently out of print though, I am sorry, but it shouldn't stop me from smiling. Number 3, favourite Tweedledee and Tweedledum decks. So this is a tarot deck with a matching oracle. I don't own pairs of, oracle and tarot at this point in time of my collection. But what I do own is the other version of the Trionfi, which is the illustrated pips. And if you've seen me do some of my video walkthroughs with this, my journals, so instead of the Marseille pips, we have illustrated pips. And the whole deck therefore is illustrated, but the quartz and the majors remains the same as the ones that comes in the Marseille. So it's only the cards 2 to 10 that have changed in this. And the Secret Pocket Oracle by Mildred Payne is created by the same artist, so both by Patrick Flenser. All of these come from Deviant Moon, and these are kind of aged cards which you can use as many have said, like a Lenormand. They're just very simple artwork, number and a word, and then you can interpret them, you know, to your heart's content. So I think as a kind of pairing, same sort of artist, similar quirky artwork, so therefore these would be what I call my Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I don't know if anyone else is going to agree with that, but that was the closest I could get to a Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Otherwise, I suppose I don't own one. I don't know that I've got the pull for one. There's an oracle, so we all know there's a Deviant Moon oracle coming out. When I have that, then yeah, I guess I might have a Tweedledee and Tweedledum, a true Tweedledee and Tweedledum deck. Number 4, no, yes, number 4. What is the Red Queen deck? The deck that became my nemesis after buying it. Okay, it's this one. It's the Supernatural. I was so excited to get myself on the waiting list for this. Like, I was right up there at the front of the queue. I waited months to get hold of this. I just like the artwork. I like the colouring tones to it. The stuff that they put out at the time made it look really, really intriguing. Cardstock wise, yeah, it's okay. Backs, yep, they're quite good. And then for anyone who knows this deck, it became one of the first affectionately named Lazy Pip decks. Okay, so there was more that could have been done with these cards. So some have so 3 of Swords there, so some have pictures, some have the Lazy Pip scenario going on, and that was it really. It was just this, and I think for me the worst suit in all of this was the pentacles, but I haven't found a single pentacle to show you. Like, I mean, so much more you could have done with the pentacles. Some were like car wheel hubs, like there's your bones. You know, it was just really missed the mark, missed an opportunity. And this is the start of what other people in the tarot community have kind of come to recognise as, they just felt like money grabbing. So you're profiting on the back of something that we all know and love, and not really doing a lot to create and make the deck as great as it could be, because this could have been a great deck. Like, anyway, that's my red. So number 5, my Drink Me deck. So the smallest cards I own. I've put this one in here. So we have the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot. I have another deck this size, and I do have some playing cards smaller than this, but I can't find them. So you've got my Nicoletta Ciccoli today. And I think it fits in with the theme of Alice in Wonderland, like some great kind of whimsical pictures. I will at some point get the larger version of this, but for the moment, this one's okay. It's one I don't use a great deal of, but actually it's really pretty. If you're doing a big spread, it's a good one to drop down on the table for a big spread. That's my Drink Me. The next one, so everyone, put your minds back where they belong and have a cold shower. There is no naughtiness with the next deck. So this is the Eat Me deck. So the biggest cards I own, those are the Ancestral Path Tarot by Julie Kusha Watts. I always call her Julia. Sorry, Julie. I have a guidebook, and they're huge. These are bigger than the Seasons of the Witch Oracle. Okay. So this deck is gorgeous, lovely big cards. It's slightly too big for me to handle, so I don't really shuffle that way. I have to hold it widthways for shuffling for this one. But it is a beautiful deck, and she's done some collaborations, because the guidebook for this one is no longer available, but there are collaborations on a couple of YouTube channels. Is it Amber at Lavender Moon? Where Julie goes through the guidebook, and there's like I think it's about 5 videos to the series to deep dive into the deck with them. And obviously Julie's the artist of these decks, and these have been around for years. So these aren't new decks. This isn't a new creation. So the, I want to say like early 80s this deck came out. So this, back then, it's kind of got different parts of the world included in it, which was probably quite a groundbreaking thing in the 80s actually. So, and those are the backs. So that's my biggest set of tarot cards. Excuse me, still trying to work out. Julie, if you watch this, drop it in the comments below. Not quite 80s, 1995. So, and this deck is now, I believe, available from her website direct. So, and she's got a couple of really great decks on there if you like her stuff. So number 7, you're late. So the FOMO deck, the deck that gave FOMO before I got my hands on it. So this is a set, people. Seasons of the Witch Oracles. This is a set. Had FOMO about it because I wanted to make sure that I had all the cards to the set. Thus far, I do. However, what I could have actually afforded to do with this is stand back because it's a mass market deck. I don't know why I was so worried about not getting it in time. I think it's because of the seasons in which it comes out. I want it in time for the season. But I really could have stood back and waited for this one. I could have watched some walkthroughs. I could have assessed the cards to this part of the collection and realised that this part of the collection wasn't quite for me. This one doesn't really match into my practices or what I do and how I see Christmas or Yule. So this one just was a little bit too modernized, I think, for me, bizarrely. So yeah, I probably would have stepped back, and if I watched enough of these, I would have also not bought it. Yeah, I might eventually have collected it to go if I had the entire set, but this one's taught me to stand back and watch the rest of them as they come out and see what happens with them before I go ahead and buy. So that was a nice lesson to learn with my FOMO for that one. My White Queen deck, so something that's colourful and light-hearted. I have pulled out Tarot of the Moon Garden for this. I think that this is a beautiful deck. It's got lots of bright colour. I do really like the borders. I like the cardstock and the kind of whimsical creatures and beings in here. And it's a really pretty, gentle, like vibey deck, I think, with all the little dragonflies and butterflies flying around and the like kind of colours to the cards. So for that reason, I've put this one. I mean, even the tower, look, that doesn't look like a scary tower. I'm not sure where the devil is. Just trying to, probably past it. There we go. Even the devil, look, carnival of bright colours. So that is my White Queen deck. So show you a deck, prompt number 9, with artwork as mad as a hatter. Okay, I've put 2 out for this. So we've got the carnival at the end of the, so there we go, carnival at the end of the world. I always say end of row. Anyone that sees me pull this deck out, it's always end of row. 1, the backs are gorgeous. And then we have these really bizarre looking people. Seems like I always put one in upside down and then the rest of the right way up. Okay, so just these really bizarre, really bizarre characters. I can't explain them to you. There is a guidebook that comes with this deck, but I think it's about as kooky and as bizarre and down the rabbit hole as I can get for a really weird looking deck. Just yeah, too weird. Look at that. So that one is deck number 1. Deck number 2, bizarrely, has Harlequins on it as well. and this is the Tarot Nuages. And this one has some really unique artwork in it. That's why I've pulled it out. Not quite mad as a hatter, but definitely very creative in its depictions of what we've got and the little people that sit within the deck in the world of the goblins here. So yeah, there we go. So I've put this one out for that reason. And then I have Colourful, Lighthearted, Mad Hatter, number 10. What deck would you take to a tea party? Okay, I've put a couple for a tea party because they're, again, light-hearted. So I could take the Tarot of the Moon Garden. Anything in a tin I will take to a tea party. This one usually gets thrown in my bag because people know that I love Halloween, and therefore they don't find the pictures in here very frightening or intimidating, and they can have fun and they can enjoy those images and understand that perhaps why I've brought that deck with me. So that's one that I would take. Number 2, so I've put the Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palin in here because this one people can see themselves in. And that's why I'd maybe consider taking it to a tea party, because the images do relate to my neck of the woods, and we can see, you know, what's going on. Look at that for 3 of Swords. So, you know, you can really see 5 of Coins and depict and pop yourselves into some of these cards. And that's why I would take this one for the relatability factor. I have trimmed that if you're wondering why it's flopping around in my box. And the other one that I've taken as being a hit is the Everyday Witch because, as I've said, it's light and whimsical. It's hard to take the pictures too seriously. They are quite cute and funny, and again, it fits my aesthetic. It fits like people who know me and know that I love Halloween, so they wouldn't be surprised to see me pull out a deck that looks like this, but they can enjoy the colorations in the pictures and they can see what you're kind of pointing to. This one sometimes reads a very literal card deck for me, so it's for those reasons that I would drop this one into a tea party. Those are probably the 3 that I go to. If I know that my friend's gonna be like, oh, did you bring a deck? It'll be one of those 3. So nothing that would completely like weird them out with my full-on like spooky, freaky deck loves. And then number 11, the Jabberwocky deck, a deck that is dark and mysterious. Up 2 here. So Barbara Walker Tarot is quite dark and mysterious in if you drop down into perhaps the rabbit hole of this deck, it's very different to other decks, sort of has its own, a little bit of its own system to it. And the books, or her books, if you can get hold of them, they're on Kindle definitely, so you don't have to have the hard copies, but just going through the books, you will learn a lot more because she has deity in the court cards. Now, I haven't gone into those in depth or anything yet. I haven't like looked at them, but there is more to this deck than just the use, and you have keywords as well, so slightly different to what we'd be used to. It's just her depiction of the tarot, her colorations, her symbols. There is so much symbolism in her deck that doesn't quite relate to your normal tarot, and it's got that very kind of like witchy aesthetic. So for that reason, I've got this one here. And it's in a tin. And the other one I've dropped down here is the Dark Grimoire as a Jabberwocky deck for me. I don't actually know, I need to ask why Jabberwocky in Alice in Wonderland tag, but hey ho. So this one, because this is inspired by the Necromicons, and the artwork is by Michelle Penko. It's just like a very different deck. the images, you can't read this fast. You've got to stop and look at this one. You've really got to spend time with it. But there's something haunting within the images. So here's our hermit. You can just see him. You know, you could always, that could be you, sat in a room poring over your study with the light fading outside, you know, just a little lamp to work from into the wee hours of the morning, just you and your books learning. The Eight of Swords. So really kind of that feeling of being stuck or surrounded or imprisoned. But did you put yourself there? Who's actually holding the lid on your jar? Have you put the monster that's holding the lid on your jar there yourself, or has someone else put it there? Yeah, just like really interesting. Like, who are you running from? Are they real? Are those skeletons and ghosts in your closets real, or are you imagining them? Is that you overthinking everything? So that's one of my, so that's my other Jabberwocky, not one of my, but that's my other. So my two Jabberwocky decks, which I think are dark and mysterious, and they need time to sit with. Amy from Mystic Rose Tarot, she has Barbara Walker. She finds the energy of this deck so so strong for her that she wraps her up in two cloths, which is another weird thing that I've discovered lately. Now I call this one, I've got two decks. So this one I've nicknamed, this is Babs, and this is Millie. So I actually have two decks that I've nicknamed, and it only like really dawned on me not very long ago that I had done that. And then prompt number 12, we're at the end. Show me your Alice deck, either an actual Alice in Wonderland deck or one that takes you on a journey. I have two, but they're not Tweedledee and Tweedledums. So I have Dame Darcy's Alice in Wonderland Tarot with silver sides. I've got the back there, a couple of the extra cards. So this is the story of Alice in Wonderland, and there are some great walkthroughs going through the Alice in Wonderland storybooks and putting these to the stories. I think, is it Kelly at Truth and Story has done that with a couple, or was it Sadhana? Oh, can't remember. I'll try and remember to link them down below. But they did like a little series of, I think it might be Sadhana actually, linking these into the storybooks and rearranging the cards and showing the pictures as you go. So there's my Alice in Wonderland Tarot. Really don't use this one very much at all. Like probably, well, I don't think I've had it out at all this year. Oops. So that's one. And then we have the Alice in Wonderland Oracle by Lucy Cavendish with the artwork by the amazing Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. I've had this one a couple of months, I think. And I use this one for closing up readings, or I have been using it to create a spread. So I was using the kind of words in the bottom to create the question that I wanted to answer. So I pull this as a closing to a spread, so to speak, or I'd use it for a reflection on the week that's happened, perhaps in my week, let's say weekly tarot read up, wrap up. So I'd put one of these out as my what happened this week, what did I learn, that kind of question would go down, and I'd get my card. And then from this, I would use the reading or the keywords to create the next question for the next card, because I sometimes do 3 cards for my wrap-ups of the week, and then I'd use it to do that. So that's how I was using this deck. Obviously, it's out of rotation at the moment. I have some others. But that reminds me, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I'm not sure she's on YouTube actually, but definitely on Facebook and Instagram, the White Rabbit Oracle is doing some prompts, or she's answering some prompts by another lady for 22 days scavenger hunt, which happens to be Alice in Wonderland related. So if you look her up, you can see how she's doing that with tarot and oracle cards. But those are my Alice in Wonderland decks. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Can't wait to see what you've got in your tags. Do join in. I will drop Courtney's channel below, of course, and the hashtag is Tarot in Wonderland, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye bye.